What is happening, Minties? This is the Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition. And join me as I do an overview of the Valerian, the Complete Collection, Volumes 1 and 2 hardcovers from Cinebook. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's do a quick overview of both of these books. Now, before I get started, I do want to give a thank you to Jerome and the fine folks at Cinebook for sending us copies to do an overview of. So, this is Valerian. This is what the movie Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets is based on. So, each one of these volumes collects three or four of the stories that were originally published in Europe. So let's talk about these. But before I do, I wanted to show you all the size differences. So here is a standard size hardcover from DC Comics. Here's a trade paperback from Marvel Comics. And then an OHC, an oversized hardcover from Marvel, which is the same size as an omnibus as far as height. As you can tell, it's taller and longer. So those are the dimensions that we're looking at here. So much like the Lucky Luke books, these are actually a lot bigger than those. They don't have a dust jacket. This is exactly what you get. This is the spine right here. And then the back of the book. Both of these books retail for $29.99. And as I mentioned, don't have a dust jacket. Now, let's talk just a little bit about this and where it originated from and what the contents are. These were originally published in France, and the creators Jean-Claude Mézières and Pierre Christine, I'm not even going to try to pretend like I'm pronouncing those names accurately, because I'm not, were the ones that created this. And all I know about Valerian is that Luke Benson and other sci-fi writers have always praised the comics as inspirations for their works. So much so that I know that it influenced like The Fifth Element and things like that. And there's a nice little intro here. There's an interview with both of the creators and Luke Benson, how it all got started. And here's some other really cool things here, such as the image creators. Like, this is a cool article about the similarities and inspirations that were drawn from Valerian into a movie like Star Wars. Like, I know George Lucas, of course, borrowed heavily from Hidden Fortress, but there are also elements that he borrowed from this comic book here. It originally premiered in that magazine right there, Pilote. So the contents of this particular book are Bad Dreams, published in 1967. The City of Shifting Waters and Earth in Flames, 1970. That was a really interesting one. That's probably the most European out of these three. And The Empire of a Thousand Planets, which I'm sure that's where they got the title from. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. I was talking about how this all came to be and how they were all inspired by this. Now, having read the first volume, I would say that this is, to me, reads like a young adult comic book. That's the way I took it. Even the way that it's drawn, like Valerian himself is drawn, it's very cartoony. And I think that was who they were trying to get. However, if you're looking at the covers, especially for Volume 2, they look a lot more for an older audience. So, if you're not familiar with reading books from Europe, like from Humanoid or other publishers, it might take a while for you to get used to the writing styles, because not everything translates 100% into English, and the way that we talk, or the way that there's different slangs that get mistranslated. So they try to do their best. But for the most part, I had a lot of fun reading this. It reminded me of reading like Heavy Metal magazine, more so than European comics, which I know that's kind of stupid, because a lot of heavy metal stories were originally published in Europe. But this is Volume 1. Volume 1 contains right at around 176 pages. And we'll talk about Volume 2 and what the story of Valerian is here in a second. I just want to make sure there's no extras in the back. Oh, no, just the coming soon. And we're going to look at Volume 2 now and the binding. So here is Volume 2. Again, the spine. It's a pretty interesting spine because it looks like it's upside down or backwards, but nope, that's the way it's supposed to be. And then the back. Again, $29.99. Okay, let's open this up. Again, there's the interview with Luke Benson, Jean-Claude Mézières, and Pierre Christine. And like I was saying, while I read all of Volume 1, I haven't read any of this yet. Now, while it's geared towards a young adult audience, it doesn't mean that you should not read it, because I really enjoyed Volume 1. And I keep hearing it gets better and better. So if I enjoyed Volume 1, I can only assume that Volume 2 is going to blow me away. Let's see here. Now, one thing I will say, actually, let's look at this really quick and then I'll say it. So the stories in this particular volume are The Land Without Stars, Welcome to Alf Lolo, oh boy, and Birds of the Master. Those were all published in different years. One thing I will say as far as Volume 1, do not judge these comics based on that movie. I think there was a lot of miscasting in the movie. I really appreciate what Luke Benson's vision was trying to do. But man, the two leading actors in that movie, I don't think I even finished it. So, let's talk about the comic. What is Valerian? So the premise of Valerian is pretty straightforward. It's a space opera that's set in the year 2720. And Valerian, the guy, right there. By the way, this in France is called Valerian and Laureline, oh boy. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. So it's not just Valerian. So it's that guy right there, and he's an operative for the Terran Galactic Empire. Now, in this future, teleportation allows people to instantaneously travel distances between time and space. And on a mission through Earth's past, Valerian befriends a peasant girl named Laureline, hence the Valerian and Laureline title in France, and who soon becomes an operative herself. And then together they go through all these missions across space and time. And that's pretty much the premise of this. As you can tell by now, the art style is changing. I just noticed the amount of details that he's putting into the panels. Wow. That looks pretty good, actually. I like the coloring. Honestly, the presentation of these books are nice. The pages are nice and thick, and they have a gloss tone to them, so the colors really stand out. And let's look at the binding really quick, because I don't want to flip. Let's flip to the end. Yep, just that. So let's look at the binding. So the binding is glued binding, and there's that ribbon. There's that eye. And this one, this volume right here is right at around 160 something pages. So it, it lays over really nice. It's not very text heavy. The translations are pretty good, I think. Some things have been Americanized, but that's okay. You kind of get used to that when it comes to European comics. But overall, I really like the presentation, and I can't wait for more volumes. This is a nice start. I have no idea what I'm in for, by the way, because I've only read Volume 1, and I want to read more. So let me know in the comments down below how many volumes am I in for, because are we talking like One Piece kind of volumes, like 90 of these books, or are we talking like maybe 20? So that was the contents of each of these books and what the binding was like. Let me know in the comments down below if you've picked these up. I know I have a lot of European viewers or viewers from South America. Let me know if you have already read these, or if this is your first time reading them, or if you've never read them and you want to check them out. Please don't judge these books by that movie. Again, I will say that. Remember, you can purchase these books from cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself in packaging your books so they arrive safely and in excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Cheap Graphic Novels Black Friday sale is continuing all through December, so there's still time to save up to 95% off thousands of books. Additional books will be added throughout the month, so be sure to check back often and stay tuned to CGN on social media to be the first to know when the new books have been added to the sale. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discounts, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, and remember, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint.